Have you ever randomly decided to pick up a game and ended up loving it? That's what happened to me with OneShot, a game developed in RPG Maker and released in 2014. Right from the start, the game pulled me in and made me fall in love. But the thing that I was mainly interested in, even before I started playing, was that in this game, just like the title, you only have one shot. Our main character, Nico, wakes up one day and finds himself in a strange house. In this house, he finds a light bulb and a computer. A mysterious person explains through the computer that we are too late, and they will help to get Nico home. The computer then speaks to you, the player, and tells you that you only have one shot, meaning that if you close the game, you lose and Nico dies. After Nico leaves the house, he finds a robot that explains to us that in this world, Nico is the savior who must use the light bulb he found to replace the sun which has burned out. The robot also tells us that the player is the god of this world, and since Nico is the Messiah, he can communicate with God directly. From this point on, it is our job to watch over Nico and guide him through this world. I really love the writing of this game. All of the characters, while only there for a short amount of time, have an impact on the story and on my overall experience of playing the game. This is mainly evident with Nico. Throughout the game, we learn more about Nico, and he develops a lot as a character. And because he was established as his own character and not just a vessel for the player, I grew much more attached to him. This mostly happened in the conversations between Nico and the player. In these interactions, I was able to learn more about Nico, and feel like both Nico and I were bonding in a way, making him feel much more real. My favorite part of the writing is how the game makes the player themselves a character within the story. This made me feel really immersed in the game, like I was actually part of this world. Another thing that made me feel like I was a character in the game was the fourth wall breaks, funnily enough. Usually fourth wall breaks in media, for me at least, make me feel less immersed. It reminds me that whatever broke the fourth wall isn't real and that I'm just some dude in a chair staring at a screen. But in OneShot, the fourth wall breaks worked so well because they fit into the plot. In the story, you are just some dude sitting at a computer screen, and the game knows this, so it changes things within your computer, making it so you have to leave the game window to progress in the game. This makes the game feel like it extends outside of the game itself. It extends to all of your computer, and since you're also a character, it extends to you, making it feel as though you are in the game. Also, because there are multiple endings, the game has some replayability to it. But truthfully, replaying just to get another ending isn't worth it since the rest of the game will be exactly the same as your previous playthrough. The core of the gameplay in OneShot is puzzles. You collect items throughout the game that you can combine and use to progress through the game. While the puzzles aren't very hard, I think they're pretty entertaining. It's interesting to see how items you found earlier in the game can work in harmony to solve a problem. Some of the best puzzles in the game were ones that required you to leave the game window to solve. There were multiple puzzles where in order to find the solution, you would have to move out of the game box and look through the files on your computer to answer. The best part of the gameplay is that you only have one shot. This means that in the game, you only have one try. If you close the game ends and Nico dies. You can't even start from the beginning. You lose your ability to play the game. This sounds a lot more ominous than it really is. There's no real possibility of dying at any point in the game, and there are some save spots if you need to take a break. I feel like this mechanic is just there to make the player feel as though they aren't in control. This also carries over into when you beat the game. Once you beat the game, you can't play again. This means that you have to put a lot of thought into the ending which you want, because that's the one you're stuck with. Unless of course you just delete the game's local data, then you can reset all you want, but that kinda defeats the purpose of the game. The visuals and soundtrack of OneShot complement the rest of the game amazingly. The art in this game feels very cartoonish and cute, yet also has a barren and eerie feel to it. Plus, the pixel art just looks really good. The soundtrack has a good match to what the player or Nico are feeling at that time. Many of the tracks are filled with feelings of mystery and curiosity, while ones in the darker parts of the games are ominous and unsettling. So what is my verdict on this game? It's awesome. Most games can't make me feel in 20 hours what OneShot made me feel in 2. So if you're a fan of story-driven video games or just good story in general, I highly recommend you pick it up. Also, the re-release is coming out to Steam pretty soon with a bunch of new content, so you might want to wait for that instead. Either way, play this game. It's amazing. This video was made within a 24-hour time span for a fun video making challenge some other YouTubers and I did. On screen is all of the other creators who participated, and they're all awesome. Click on any of the icons to go to their channel.